Okay, this video will not cover the entire history of 5-string bass or anything like that. I'm just starting the video with a 5-string to show you that the whole point is normally you have EADG on a 4-string bass. If you want to go lower, you got to tune down. On a 5-string, you add this B string, which means that below this note of E, you now have 5 additional notes going all the way down to low B. I do not know the history of this. I just know that you have lower notes. It's pretty cool, and a lot of people make use of it. It's a little bit divisive, though, to be fair. So the biggest alternative that I have been seeing in the years of late is what we call BEAD. BEAD spelled B-E-A-D, because that is completely what this is tuned to, B-E-A-D. This is a 4-string bass. I have the correct gauges to accommodate this. I say correct because I'm just going based off of 5-string set. 65 to 130 here. There's a bunch of different gauges that you could use, but essentially your E, E flat, D, C sharp, C, B. All the same notes. You're missing your G up here, and so I don't know. I haven't counted ahead of time to see how many notes you sacrifice, but I'll tell you the thing that makes this interesting to me is that whenever I played a 4-string and I first started learning bass, I didn't play a whole lot on the G anyways. It just, it was a select few songs and a select few passages. And here I hold this bass because same thing. This one happens to be tuned down a half step. It's probably not actually in tune right now. So I wanted to show I have 2 basses that are tuned BEAD right now. If I were to play a 4-string bass, I would want the low B. I don't really necessarily care for the high G. So what is the point of this? Where did this come about? All I can speak to is based on things that I've read online. A lot of people don't get along with 5-string basses. It could be the neck width, it could be the body weight, it could be the string spacing, it could be any number of things. A lot of people don't get along with it. And that's fine. That's their preference. But if they want a low B, you would have to do something like this. Because I find that transposing and stuff like that just isn't quite up to par quite yet. I don't know. The more I say it, like as soon as I say that, I think about the Dark Glass Anagram videos, and some of those have been pretty impressive. So essentially what you've done here is you've sacrificed a high string for a low string. There's a few trade-offs with something like this. A lot of these 4-string basses are not made to accommodate this thick, this 130. For these 2 basses, and there's one other bass that I had done this to in the past, I had to file the nut, and you do that with a nut file. I did it myself for these 2 P-style basses because I built up the confidence and I bought some nut files. The other one, I tried to do it myself with sandpaper and botched it pretty badly and then paid somebody to fix my mistakes. So this isn't just a simple kind of thing. It's something that could be a little bit tricky. You're going to want to file it until when you fret on the 3rd fret, whatever string you have in here just barely clears this 1st fret. And you're going to want to do that with all your strings because everything is going up a whole, a whole note gauge. You know what I mean? I have not experienced any problem with tuning machines not accepting the larger string. That's been fine. And then the bridges sometimes won't allow anything through. This bridge is a Wilkinson, and it accommodates up to a 130 with no problem, as long as you don't have silk around this back part. Flat wounds will have a hard time going through here. So I'm going to speak to you as a person that likes 5 strings and would be okay with having only 5 strings, and why I would have this if I feel that way. So this bass is a Glary. All right, Glary now has a 5-string PJ bass, but it's not this style. This bass was the first one I bought of this style. It's a no pick guard, no frills, 2-knob P bass, right? And I bought it because I think it looks cool. I like the whole no pick guard shape and the one pickup. And of course, adding this nice chrome P pickup adds to the look, right? And so I had it kicking around as a regular tuned bass, but then I just wasn't like playing it. So I decided to tune it down to BEAD, B-E-A-D. I decided to do this because I was playing this bass for songs that I came up with the bass part for. And so intentionally, I know that most of the songs that I've worked on don't have anything on the G string. And if they did, you just move up a little bit. So what would be the benefit of it? Well, for these particular basses, and I'm talking about these Glaries, not 4 strings. Some of this can apply to 4 strings. These are really light. They have 4 strings. They're passive. They have 2 knobs. It's really straightforward. Buying a 4-string set like this, if you go through Ernie Ball, you can buy what they call the Beefy Slinky. You can save a little bit of money, not much, but a little bit every time that you restring a bass. Buying a 4-string saves you a little bit of money as well. So playing these as opposed to a 5-string would save me a little bit of money in the initial purchase and every time I buy strings, and a little bit of weight on my back because these are really lightweight. I find a lot of that could be true of every 4-string bass that you choose to string up like this over a 5-string bass. So that's pretty cool. Apart from that, it can be a little tricky to find like a true 5-string P bass without some funky kind of compromises. I've talked a little bit about this at length, but sometimes you got to adjust string spacing, or you'll have a wider neck or a heavier body. The only ones I can come up with right off the top of my head that are like a true P bass style is like a Sire P5. And then there's a bunch of PJs. There's Sire P5, P7, Yamaha BB basses. There's several different ones: the 235, the 435, the 735. A few different kinds as well. So for me, these basses are an appeal to simplicity, and I leaned into it by putting DiMarzio P pickups in both. This one is a Relentless Middle. This one is a DiMarzio Model P. I bring this up because DiMarzio does not make a 5-string P bass pickup. So these are 2 pickups where I leaned into what the bass was providing me. I bought a pickup that would fit into these basses and do what I wanted. Both of these pickups are very different than the old school kind of P bass sound. These are ceramic, very high output, very full range, and actually, in my opinion, very well receiving of the low note. So to talk a little bit about pickup choice of something like this, I've seen at least 2 bass videos recently. One was from GNL, one was from Dingwall, or talking about Dingwalls. And they talked a little bit about how Alnico pickups would have a certain kind of breakup, or they would lose their ability to accurately translate certain notes depending on the energy of the note, like a low tuned string or something like that. And so ceramic or neodymium could more accurately translate it without sort of like a breakup, almost like a crunchy kind of sound. This is something that they went into for the FD3 neodymium pickups from Dingwall. Strength of the magnet in relation to the number of turns may have an impact on the tone of something really low coming through. watched a video from a guy named Andre. I can't remember his last name right now, but he made a video about a Fender player precision that he tuned up BEAD, and how he was not a fan of the tone of the low B. He went into a lot of detail. I think what I'm describing here is relevant to that. An Alnico sort of vintagey pickup is going to cause the tone of the lower string to not really match what we're expecting. But see, I think what we expect from a low note is a little bit loaded. Our experience with hearing notes that are down to B or C, maybe not E flat. We've heard a bunch of stuff tuned down for years, but notes that are down this low have been from 5 strings, and a lot of the 5 strings that we have heard through history have been active 2 pickup, or like my Stingray, they've at least had some kind of pickup back this way. So I think when we hear low notes, we expect it to be tightened up by the tone of a pickup that is pushed closer to the bridge, or a pickup that's put through active electronics, or a ceramic pickup, something of the like that affects the tone. So when we hear something like a P bass that's tubby and thick or whatever, our brain's like, wait, that doesn't quite sound right. That doesn't quite sound good. And then we think it's because of the scale length or blah, 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 all this different stuff. This guy, Andre, who made the video, kept saying he wanted a 5-string pickup. There's no such thing as... There are 5-string pickups, but that's based on the size that they need to cover. What he means is he wants a pickup for a P bass that would really capture the low notes well. And I think this is one right here. As a matter of fact, I think any ceramic high output P bass pickup would be fantastic. This is a Schecter P Custom. They don't make these anymore. This is a 5-string, and it has a 5-string Nordstrand power blade installed. This pickup does fantastic for the low notes, and you could get a 4-string version. That would be great for something like this as well. It also covers different string spacings, so that you can cover possibly even more than 5 strings with this if the string spacing was tight. So I'm going to play a little bit of something here and show how I think that this bass, which is cheap, like $90-something, does a fantastic job of translating this low string. And it's not because it's constructed fantastically. It's not because it's made out of the right woods. It's not because it has an extended scale length. It is because I have good strings on it and I have a good pickup in it as well. So here we go. Forgot to mention this in the main part of my video, but playing a 5-string, the main benefit is that everything that originally exists within the confines of a 4-string bass, EADG, every song that is played on that is available. And then you can go lower. So you can play everything that's in B and everything that's in standard. If you sacrifice a bass that has 4 strings and you tune it to BEAD, you lose your ability to play certain songs. Some songs you can shift up the neck and play higher. But there are some that you just can't. You completely lose your ability. So for cover bands and cover gigs and stuff like that, where you know that you're going to be playing certain bands, yeah, I don't think a bead bass would serve you very well. But, I don't know. Maybe you want to shift everything down an octave. I don't know. Just a thought.